everybody, and welcome to probably the first video on our channel in a long time. So if you haven't heard about this new thing that Marvel's put out, it's called the New Warriors, and most people have kind of agreed it's pretty bad. So I decided it might be fun for me to take a spin at redesigning them, which I've seen a couple people doing already, so I'm not exactly original with this, but you know, might as well. So this first character, her name is Trailblazer, and her power was to have a magic backpack that teleported to another dimension, and she could, like, hold stuff with it, and everyone made the obvious joke of she's just fucking Dora. So I decided I would redesign her. I think that her color scheme, the neon color scheme, made her look really bad, and it was just boring, so I wanted to kind of give her just this pastel, not rainbow, but pastel-y looking design, which you'll see whenever I do the colors. I wanted her to be very happy, very colorful, and I wanted to go with Decora fashion personally. It's one fashion trend that I really love personally, and I think I've said personally too many times, but I love the fashion trend, and with how her personality looks from what I've seen on Marvel's website, she does seem to have a very happy, colorful personality, so I thought it would mix well. And I changed up her power so that instead of her having a dumb book bag, it's actually a knife that can cut open into another dimension, which you'll see again in the finished product of the video. And then the next character that I worked on here is B Negative. Now, he's probably my second favorite character that I did. Personally, Trailblazer's probably my least favorite. I don't think I really hit the nail on the head for her. I'm sure someone could have designed her better. It was just what I had at the time. But B Negative, I changed him from, instead of having a power where he's Morbius, like that's his power on the website, is he has the power of Morbius. It's really dumb and just you're copying another character. So instead, I changed his power to bloodbending, which isn't all that creative either. However, it's more creative than just ripping off another character explicitly. And I changed it where instead of him just being able to bend blood, it's that he can manipulate blood that he touches himself. So on his belt, you'll see that I drew this little compartment. I imagine that he has a couple of those on him that have blood. They would be airtight so that the blood doesn't clot in while it's in there, and he would be able to use that. And again, if he was fighting someone or, you know, attacking someone, he can use the blood that they're bleeding to fight against them. I just thought that was cooler, and in my opinion, and it went with the vampire aesthetic that they're going with. I imagine that he is just human, but he has this vampire aesthetic that he really likes. And then I changed up his own design. Instead of him being really flamboyant looking with like these tight pants and stuff, I thought that it would be cool to make him look almost assassin-like. So I gave him like a tattered long jacket. I had a lot. My references were very I went with like gothic and punk fashion for him. And I think that it kind of shows with him. I really like how his character, especially on the heads, I really like how it looked. And I think that his clothing is all around much better than the original. I think it's a lot more interesting to look at. And I kept, with most of these characters, when at the very end, you'll see with the colors, I did try to keep the colors mostly consistent. At the beginning, that is. I think with some characters, I did go a little overboard with the color changing, especially with Trailblazer and Screen Time, who should be up in a minute. I really changed their colors. But for him, overall, I think he has like an Assassin's Creed feel, and I love it. So here we have Screen Time, and he was probably my favorite one to design. I really wanted him to have a cyberpunk aesthetic. So he's gonna have lots of wires, lots of futuristic stuff, and his power is the one I changed the most. So with him, I know everyone who knows about this already knows. His dumb power was from internet gas, like experimental internet gas, so that's bullshit. I actually watched Penguin's video on this, and I really liked his suggestion where it's like his mind got uploaded to the Matrix or whatever. And so I kind of thought that would be a much better backstory, is like he uploaded his mind through virtual reality or something, and so now he's kind of, his mind is no longer in his body, it's actually online, and his body is just a vessel now, so he could re-upload himself online. And so if you notice on his finger, I have like a USB drive, which might look stupid, but I liked it. I thought it looked cool. And if he like were to plug himself in, he will like upload his mind online and his body will go limp, which can be bad in battle, but that's why he would have to be protected. He's not really a front lines kind of person. I think that he would definitely be like information gathering, and I also thought that it would be cool if he was like a hacker kind of guy. So no, hacker kind of guy, that's dumb, but like he could just look at a person and be able to look up everything about them, like their medical information, their social security, their Facebook, Instagram, all this stuff, and he could find out anything he needed to be able to tell his team how to attack them best. That was my remake for him, at least, and I think it was pretty cool. So now we're moving on to Snowflake, which is probably my second least favorite design of them all. It was kind of hard to work with them, and I'm sorry if I call Snowflake a her a couple times. I get messed up with the pronouns, because to me, they present very feminine, and so it's hard for me to kind of get it. But I did end up wanting to make them look more, like not masculine, but look more androgynous, so that it wasn't as easy to tell if it was a male or female. You'll see definitely with the side profiles, that they look more masculine, but with their power, I changed it, instead of them just being able to make ice shurikens, which was really dumb and boring, to being able to make ice weapons in general, and instead of them just being able to create ice, they would have to use liquid in the environment around them. So I also gave them a belt, which I didn't record, sadly, but that would keep water in it. And then lastly, this is Safe Space, and this one was by far the most difficult one for me to think of, and even now, their power is still, it's still up for change. I decided that instead of them just being able to create a shield around their, like, friends, they have these balls on their waist, and so what it would be is it's not balls, they're like bubblegum balls, and he can throw out these, balls of like these spheres to protect his allies, and any fire or like damage that goes to the balls go to the bubblegum balls that are on his waist, and he could throw those out like grenades. So any damage that goes to the balls, the ball shields protecting his allies, will explode out into the environment, attacking his enemies, which I don't know, that at least gives him some way of protecting himself. And of course he can create a shield around himself if needed, so that he's not totally vulnerable on the field. And I also thought that he should be chewing bubblegum, because he's got a bubblegum themed power. And at least for me, he has a bubblegum themed power. I thought it looked cute. And with the pink theme, I think it matches perfectly with him. And so my brother actually said he looks a little like Buddha with his design. I didn't like any hairstyles that I went with, so I decided to keep him bald, and I wanted to keep a lot of circles in his aesthetic, so I gave him like these circle earrings. He has these bubblegum balls on his waistband, and I wanted to give him a cybernetic arm because I figured that the way that he's creating these shields might be an extension of the robot arm, or it just looks cool, and maybe screen time helped him make it. So here's Screen Time's final coloring. With this, Cyberpunk is known for their neons and colors. I wanted to keep that. And Cyberpunk's also known for pinks, but the pinks just didn't look right with the colors, so I went with red, which I think looks cooler. It does definitely look rainbow, so he could be like gay pride if you wanted. I don't think that he really would, though. He's a lot more drudgery, not drudgery, but he's a lot more, dark. I think that his background could be dark. And then B negative, here's his final coloration. As I said, I really did try to keep the colors the same. His is probably the least changed color-wise. It's literally everything was pulled from the coloring. The same pinks, the same blacks, the same grays, the same everything. And also don't hate for me stealing the poses. I wanted to cut down on time, so please don't hate me for that. Oh, and another side note is that his eyes will change colors when he's using his powers. When he's using his powers, his eyes will be pink, but when he's normal, it would just stay normal pink, like pupils and stuff. And then here's Trailblazer. You can see here that she has her knife, and it's kind of hard to see the portals because of the background, but whatever. I say that the knife, she could just cut through the air and a portal can open using that. And if she was to cut into an enemy, she could open like a portal in their guts, which I just think would be kind of cool. And she can use that in different ways. I've thought about other ways that she could use it, but those are just the main ways. And you can see she has those pastels. And then here's Snowflake and Snowflake and Safe Space. The coloration is pretty bland on Snowflake personally. She's just very blue, and then Safe Space is very pink. But I think that Safe Space is one of my favorite colorations. I don't know why, but the pinks are just so fun on Safe Space and B Negative. I really like them. I guess they're like, he looks masculine, but he has this pink to it. It's nice. And then Snowflake, she's beautiful, but, I mean, they're beautiful, but not the best.